Indians, and my name is Shoma, and today we have a very special guest all the way from Jammu and Kashmir. Her name is Roohi Nazki, and she had opened an iconic tea shop in Srinagar called Chai Jaai. Recently, she has also started another venture called Pyala. So without wasting any more time, let's meet Roohi. Hi Roohi, welcome.
Hi, Shoma. Thank you very much for inviting me to this show. Yes, I am from Kashmir, but right now I'm in Mumbai and it's raining and yeah, it's nice and it's nice to see you after a long time.
Thank you, Roohi. Tell us something. What made you open a tea house in the first place?
Yeah. I think it was really an accident, a very beautiful, lovely accident. But I had actually, this was in 2015-16 that I had made this decision to quit my job, my full-time job. And I think most of us in working 9-to-5 jobs in the corporate sector have this thing that, okay, at some point I'm going to be my own boss and, do my own thing. And I think that was the year for me. And I had quit and I had started a small e-learning firm, and I wanted to do more of freelance work and have more time for myself. It so happened, due to various reasons, I had the chance of going back to Kashmir, either full-time or partly be there and partly in Mumbai. And it was really a chance encounter with this gentleman who's no more with us, Mr. Jagdish Mehta, who owns this really beautiful Mahata photo studio on the Bund. And it's kind of iconic, and I think most people would have been there at some point in time. People who had earlier been for their honeymoons to Kashmir, or just on a trip to Kashmir, or wearing the Kashmiri traditional dress, and people would go to the studio and take the pictures. And I just happened to go into that studio, which, had now been not really functional for a long time, but he would always be there. And it was a conversation with him that started off the whole thing.
But did you always wanted to open a tea room?
Never.
So this was serendipity, right?
This was total serendipity. I am a great lover of chai, of tea. I mean, I don't cook. I don't like to cook. But there is one thing that I can make, and that is chai. So all the time, every time, I'd be the one to make tea, and rather nicely, and kahwa. And noon chai also, which is the Kashmiri two versions of tea. So that's it. I mean, it's the love for tea and the love for tea traditions, of course, and which is what Chai Jaai brings together, the Kashmiri tea tradition and the English tea tradition. So it's a fusion of the two. And I love that. I had taken this trip to England, to some villages there to the Cotswolds in 2013. And I had really tripped on the tea rooms in that area. They're beautiful tea rooms. But it had never struck me that I would do something like that. Never.
So do you regret opening it in Srinagar? There's the constant strikes that keep happening there and constant closures. And do you think it would have been more appropriate if you had opened it Bombay?
It would have been easier. It would have been a lot easier, a lot simpler. And it's, the ease of doing business, as we all know, is not there in Kashmir for various reasons, mostly because of the trouble that has been there for so many years. So yes, definitely. And I would have probably not have had to go through the kind of experiences, the harassment that I've had to face over there. But I wouldn't say that I regret having opened it in Kashmir, because Kashmir is at the core of the concept of Chai Jaai. So Chai Jaai is really, really about Kashmir. So Chai Jaai not in Kashmir, no. It draws everything from Kashmir. So, but yes, it has been tough. it has been a tough journey.
So why do you think you faced a lot of problems? Was it just because it was Kashmir, or was it because you were a woman and entrepreneur? Was it because you were an outsider? Would you like? I mean, it's up to you. Would you like to talk about it?
There are many factors why there were problems, but primarily I would say that the problems are more because of the current political climate, or the political climate that has been there in Kashmir for a couple of decades now. Yes. So I think that is at the core of it, because then there are different ideologies, there are different mindsets with regard to what, say, a woman can and can't do. There is resentment against a certain class, which I think has come out tremendously, though I never consciously identified with those elements that you seek to criticize within a class of people. I don't know, maybe I didn't see myself that way, but I somehow have borne the the full force of very harsh criticism reserved for the political class, or even family wise. I get told that I belong to a Sayyid family, so that's another set of privileges. And what was most disturbing in this is that I'm a person who has never believed in these distinctions.
Yes.
And okay, fine, I'm born into a family, a certain family. There is a set of privileges, or I won't say privileges, but yes, advantages that come with that. But then I have never believed in somebody being a Sayyid and a non-Sayyid. These are things that I, in my life, have rallied against within my family, with my parents, mostly with my father. And then the most important aspect of my personality that got yes, that was really attacked was me being an independent person, and always having my own distinct identity, never wanting to connect that with the rest of my family, but carving out my own. So that's how I have lived my whole life. Of course, most of the time I have been in Bombay, but I have never sought to associate with this identity or that identity, but that was all kind of that is where it hurt the most. So I have been trolled because a certain person in the family has been a politician, mercifully has been and is not, or the views that my father holds, or the positions he may have held previously in governments. Even my grandfather, who is a much revered poet in the valley, was brought into the mix. And it became really, really harsh. And I really was not able to comprehend initially what was happening, because I really did not see myself in any of those people. And also what also happened is that my person got enmeshed with the brand of Chai Jaai. Although I had kept that, initially when I started Chai Jaai, I had kept myself very separate. Even now, I personally keep myself very separate from the brand. I wanted it to develop independent of my persona, or who is running it or not running it. And for the first, I think, 1.5 years, people did not know who is running the place, who has conceptualized it, who has made. And I think that was a very good thing, because they got to test the concept, they got to experience the concept, and they loved it. And there was no bias.
That's when it became viral, and everybody got to know about it. Even tourists were going and clicking pictures. I remember seeing a lot of pictures on Twitter, and movies were being shot in the room.
Laila Majnun, there was a scene in Laila Majnun. Yes, Radhe. I saw it after a long time, actually. When they shot it, of course, I was there, but we were so intent and busy. And you see, the whole value proposition, the way I conceived it, it was conceived for the local audience, the local Kashmiri. And it was an expression of what I felt it means to be a Kashmiri, a modern, contemporary Kashmiri. So it is more than just a tea room, it's a cultural space. It expresses the different cultural aspects of what it means to be a Kashmiri, whether it is through crafts or it is through the experience of tea, it is through reviving. Revival became one of the key aspects of Chai Jaai. But it isn't just revival, it is also adding value. It's also contemporizing the experience. So I remember when I started and people did not know who is running the social media, who is behind, who are we sending a message to. Now they do. And so they send me long messages, but that time they were sending nice messages. So a young fellow, he said that, yeah, okay, it's nice you're serving. Nobody had, till then, no cafe was serving noon chai anywhere. Kahwa was serving. Yes.
That's strange because even in Delhi, people know that, Kashmiris drink chai and
they drink it all the time, but it was something that is more something you did at home rather than in a cafe. Okay, so it's not an experience that anybody thought they could, do with such great ceremony. So, and what I wanted to do is to bring a very authentic in taste and quality. Quality has been at the center of this whole experience. So this person said, okay, fine, you're doing this is nice, but if I want to take my girlfriend out for a date, I'm not going to take her for noon chai. I'm going to take her for a cup of coffee. So I said, fair enough, it's correct. I mean, I agree with you. But later on, if you see that it was the younger generation that really wanted to identify with the cultural elements that had been incorporated into the whole experience. So they will go, they will take pictures with the samovar and, that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So, And the tourists, I did not craft the experience for the tourists. My thinking is that if the locals like it, if they come and experience it and enjoy it, the tourists will definitely want to come to that place because they want to have that kind of an experience. But crafting something with a view to the tourist, I think takes the essence out of the whole thing. So I did not really do that.
But I also remember that, Chai Jaai became a spot where poetry slams were held and music nights were also held. That was really nice. And
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, like I said, that it's more an expression of different facets of the culture of Kashmir and the facets of being a Kashmiri. And I'm very proud of the fact that, it's a very rich kind of a culture.
That's right.
It is like, that even when people are working in the paddy fields and the rice fields, or they are weaving carpets, the poems that they're singing represent the best thinking, represent the highest thinking from some of the greatest minds of Kashmir. So when
even those poems have philosophy, the poems of the local.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is that it is woven into the fabric of life, which of course now with life and the way it is lived and urbanization and everything, it changes. But if you go to the rural settings, it is still like that. So I wanted to bring those elements that I wouldn't say they're completely lost, but then they're not accessible to a younger generation now. So we also did, for instance, Dastan Goi. We did that for a period of 3.5 months. Every Thursday, we would have sessions with local artists, and they were free. People could come and have, again, it was a variation of the Noon Chai, which is it has sugar in it, and it was free. Noon Chai was served free. So we also did a saffron festival and celebrated Habba Khatun, the poet. So it is really just bringing you the entirety of being a Kashmiri. It's not just a cup of tea. It is about our poets. It is about our artists. We held a lot of exhibitions of the local artists. Yes, we did a spring fest. We called it Pulai, which means blossoms. And we had live installations being created by local artists, and some of the artists had come from Bombay, and so there was collaboration between the two, and there was a lot of music. So it is all these aspects of Kashmir that, although Chai Jai is a really small place, it has about 8 tables. And yes, so sometimes I would also feel, it's so small. I remember somebody had shared a story once and said, I want to go to Kashmir, but I want to go only because Chai Jai is there. So I want to go to Chai Jai. I was a very small place. It's really small. So I would feel inadequate to meet that kind of an expectation. But it's been done with a lot of love, a lot of hard work. Obviously. And even now, like 8-9 people who are working there, they work with a kind of passion that, and it is run on completely different lines rather than a normal cafe would be.
It's more like an ownership thing for them, and because you've been very ethical and run it very legally, so I think
I wanted it to kind of be an example in itself in the running of it. So the whole supply chain, the vendors, the staff. So we have tried to run a very fair and ethical little enterprise, which tries to be fair, and I'm sure on most counts we succeeded. And the staff are really participating in the decision making and the running of it. They are really my partners in how we run it and what we do.
That must be rare over there, right? In a smaller town. It's because it's a small town.
It's a small town, and I think in business people don't do that. So I did have a lot of people saying that this is not how you do it and this is going to happen. But that also was at the core of it. For me, it's an experiment in so many ways. I'm really not from a business background.
Right.
And for me, and I wanted to see, if you run a place on these principles, would you be able to make it sustainable? That was my only goal, because we see that many enterprises which are run along these lines, where you want to be fair, where profit is not at the center of things. But it was very important for me that it be sustainable, it stand on its own feet, because only then it can offer anything to another. Yes. So that was, I think, the goal from the very beginning, and people loved it, and we got a lot of support, and it connected with the people. The essential message and the essential intention of the place connected with the people, and we were able to do all those things.
So tell us about Pyala then. How did that happen? And
so Chai Jai is my baby, and Pyala is the baby of Chai Jai. So So you see, the tea where a Chai Jai has come from this brand called T2. It's an Australian brand. I have picked up pieces from all over the world that I had collected, and we serve in that tea.
They're beautiful.
It's beautiful.
I have seen them on Twitter. They are beautiful, and on Instagram. They're beautiful.
I'm a fan of those, and I wanted to give the best to the people who would come and have an experience at Chai Jai. So that is something that I would give to myself. That is something that I liked, and I presented that over there. So anyway, so that clicked a lot. But one fine day, I felt that, you see, in Kashmir, the art of Nakashi, the paper mâché Nakashi that is done. One is the creation of the paper mâché objects from paper pulp. That's one part of the deal. But the other, the decorative part, which is called Nakashi, which is done over there, it's phenomenal. Everyone knows about it.
Yeah.
But there is no innovation in that affair that has happened. You have the decorative box. People are doing it.
Christmas decorations.
Yes, which we use in Chai Jai incidentally.
Also, okay.
Christmas is big in Chai Jaai, huge. So that's been one of the reasons that we have been criticized a lot. But it is an inclusive place. And growing up, I studied in Presidential Convent, which is just opposite on the other side of the river. So there is that association too. And Christmas is really, we celebrate it with a lot of fervor.
And it's big in Bombay as well. And exactly. In Bandra where you stay.
Absolutely, Bandra most of the time.
Yeah.
So lots of times, on the first Christmas, I think we got a lot of stuff from Bandra, from Bombay to Kashmir. So the local varieties of sweets and everything. So because there is a lot of attention given to providing an authentic experience, no matter what we do over there. Even if it is the thing like we did a Turkish festival, or if it is Christmas and that kind of a thing. But Pyala was born out of this desire that if there is a product in the world that we are using over there, which is so beautiful, can we in Kashmir, using our local talent, create something equally beautiful? And I mean, it was very difficult. First of all, the craftsmen, they don't, because they use the regular paints, boxes, they do paper mâché. This was really getting into painting, and I had to talk to a lot of them, but it did not work out. And then one fine day, I happened to meet some friends in Bombay who are potters, and they put me in touch with the people who do ceramic pottery here. So I came, I did a workshop for 2 weeks. And made all the notes. I am not very good at all these things, but the love I have for this work has made me do all kinds of stuff. So made all the notes with the view that I should be able to go to Kashmir, and I should be able to transfer this learning to the craftsmen, and they should be able to use the nakashi to do ceramic painting on bone china. So we would have innovated, we would have taken that craft and done something new with it. And in the process, we would have made a completely functional product.
Absolutely. And they are beautiful.
Thank you. And so we took the furnaces from here. There was a lot of...
they didn't even have a pottery industry over there, so to say.
Sorry? Yeah, no, it was not. And so, but the plainware, the crockery, which is the plain crockery, we buy from the local brands here, which are the plain white crockery.
White china.
We take to bone china, and we take them to Kashmir, and then we have taken all the colors which are food safe, and that was another whole journey. But we take them from here. We have ordered furnaces from here, and it took about few months, maybe 3 to 4 months for the craftsmen to get a hang of it. And my thing to them was, there are no mistakes in these 3 months. You can do whatever. So they were let off the hook completely. Initially, we did not have a furnace, so we actually had to courier the stuff to Bombay. It would get baked over there, and they would send it, because it's very difficult to get the colors right. You know what you see when it's wet and when you bake, and the colors that come out are very so it was only after 6 to 8 months that we were able to really do something good. And we did video chats with the painter who had taught me here, then with the furnace people in the middle of it was very late at night, we would go, no, it's not working, the temperature is not right. And they were wonderful people. They still are. They supported a lot. And finally, I think last year, the product was ready. We tested it, of course. I used it at home. We used it in Chai Jaai to see whether the colors stick. And we started selling on WhatsApp since last year. The branding, the packaging, everything is complete, and it's ready to go to market. So we are working on the website now so that people can order. But we are receiving orders from Chai Jaai itself, and on WhatsApp we are able to fulfill the orders. And really, it feels really good for me to have had a thought, and that thought has now
come into reality. Yeah, there were two thoughts actually. Yeah. And both of them have, come out very beautifully. So, what
Thank
is
you.
in the future for Chai Jaai and Pyala? Are you thinking of expanding to other parts of the
Yes.
country?
Yes, we would like it to be. See, it's a very natural progression. So chai, then with that the
Pyala.
bakery with in Kashmiri
Okay.
is called roti. Okay, so the roti,
Hmm.
the bread, and then the pyala, which is so it can have so many other things, and it's but at the center of all of it is chai and Kashmir.
Right.
So we have now three things. We have the bakery, we have Chai Jai, and we have Pyala.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that we can open, first of all, another outlet in Kashmir where all three can come together and people can buy
Okay.
also. I have there is the tea room, and then of course the next progression would be to have more chai jais in the rest of the country.
What about now that I was going to wrap up, but you just came up with a bakery. So, do you also bake in your at Chai Jai, or do you procure it from the
Yes.
locals?
No. We bake, and again in bakery as well. We have revived traditional Kashmiri bakery, and one of the things that we do, one of the it's a kind of a cake, a cross between a cake and a bread. It's called rot. So
Okay.
on all ceremonial occasions, that is what used to be sent to each other's houses, or you would eat. And there's difference between the rot that the Pandits make and the Muslims make, and so it's a kind of a Kashmiri cake, or there's a Kashmiri sweet called basrak. So we
Mhm.
serve that on Christmas and other. So these are things now we are making in house, and we also do home delivery of all of these products, and
Within
we are also
Srinagar.
available in Srinagar, and we are also available in the local supermarkets
Oh,
with all of the products. Yes.
that's great. That's great. Nice talking to you, Ruhi, and we wish you all
Thank you
the
so much.
best for your next venture. I'm sure now a lot of people would want to go there and enjoy.
I would love to share a cup of kahwa or noon chai with you in Chai Jai. So I hope you can travel to Kashmir soon and we can meet up there.
Of course. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.